It's time to speak to you all about creation. They twisted truth about creation to have support for their lies. As Jews, they are not and cannot be. You must understand all this game, dirty game, to make them Jews, as they are not, and they cannot be. The descendants of Ishmael and his siblings wrote generations and generations and generations after the senile Abram death. Was not Abram. He never wrote a word. Was the children of Hagar. They are responsible for all the mess in religion about your God and hidden God. They never let you know about Him, your true God, your Creator, the Hebrew God. Instead, they made Abram as God to justify their falsehood of Jews. They are not. Only God is Hebrew. Abram is not God. Abram did not create Jews. Abram is not a Semite. Abram is not Hebrew. God is. Sarah was a Semite woman, and God gave Sarah the grace to have a child from a Semite mother, to be a Semite child, to generate His people, His priests on earth. This is all about your God within His plan, His will, not Abram. Abram has nothing to do with God, not his Semite people. He's not a Semite. Genesis is a lie. It was written generations and generations and generations after the death of Abram. Abram was not even the father of the children of the whore of the beast. Abram was a senile man all the time. That woman was infiltrated in the house of Sarah. Abraham was not Abraham. He is Abram. He was never called Abraham, as Hagar was never called by any name. That woman had no name. She was a demonic woman. She had no name. After the death of Abram and Sarah, they called Abram, Abraham in their narratives, not in person. And the woman they called Hagar in their narratives, never in person. She had no name. And Abram is Abram, not Abraham. I want you to understand this dirty game, this dirty plot to take the Jews' history and creation to themselves. They plot to kill Isaac. Abraham was a senile, more than 100 years old, very old man, witched by that woman, a whore. He tried to kill the people of your God. And they wrote a story of testing to Abram as Abraham is a lie. Your God will never ask you to kill your own child. Every child is his creation. He is life. He's not death, and much less a murderer. Devil is a lie. Devil is a murderer. Not your God. It's all lies. And I want you to think, to not eat their putrid food in lies about creation, about the man that you call Adam. All lies. For God's sake, don't you see? It's impossible. There was no one man for everybody. It's impossible. This is not true. Adam, the man you call Adam, came later, very later on, after all man creation. When man creation, after all others getting extinct, was hard for them to survive, God decided to create more of each chain, to have their own offspring in their own chain. He created man and woman of each different chain to populate the earth. They walked in the land before the waters. The land shaked many times, very hard. Many survived, and they kept walking. Many stay there. They don't want to risk pass through the waters, but others dominate the waters. They conquered the waters. They built boats, and they got very good in navigation. You must think. They are lying. They are creating a divine world, lying to you. You know why? They are building their own world of Jews. They are not. And why you never were able to know God, to know how God is. They don't let you. They never let you. To keep their own world. They were afraid if you walk in the true God, their world will be ended. And that's why I'm here. To reveal truth and their lies. Let's begin. First, you must start your understanding with conviction that your God is a Hebrew, and this is true. It's his language. He speaks Hebrew. is his tongue from his world. And no one, no creation, no man, nobody, nothing is like him. This is a main truth about your God you must keep in your mind before everything. Keep this in your mind all the time. Your God is Hebrew. Your God is life. Your God is light. Your God, in the beginning, he annihilated darkness in its nothingness in death to life. Because he is life. He is light. The day and night covered the earth for all creatures to evolve in nature by each one on nature. And all things on earth to connect with the firmament above and beyond, the sun and the moon and the stars and all elements synchronized as an engine powering the cycle of life. Your God created many creatures, many, before mankind, of all shapes and sizes. Many did not survive. God created man in many different sizes and forms. All were created in pairs of male and female. All those creations struggled to survive and got extinct with time, leaving man creations the dominant species of humankind. There were others. You are not the one, the only kind of human. There were others, but they got extinct. They are not able to survive. Your God then created many others in different chains to have peoples and nations of their own chain. Is as after creating all creatures and all things and all kinds of man-like creation, he was waiting to see if they can cope with life in the earth. And after all, and see the main species of human surviving strongly in the earth, he decided to create all the chains of the same human kind, but different chains, for them to have their own offspring, to form their own nations, to populate the earth. Understand that there is no time for your God's business, for his plan and his will, unless he specified timing to accomplish his plan on earth. Have this in your mind also. God controls time. With God, sometimes it's like this at the same fraction of second, and sometimes takes years to come to reality in this world. Man creation in their own chain and offspring, they walked in land before the waters. They walked far, very far, and others stayed, each male with female and offspring, and they are the nations you know today. The land shakes very hard, many times, and the elements very cold, very hot. And the waters came, taking the land, keeping some inland. They, in each of their own chain, groups, people, kept walking. Many dominated the waters. They built boats, and they were really good on that in navigation. And was easier for them to travel even far to get inland, to settle and have their own people, their own nation. Your God wanted to have one creation to serve and worship Him on earth. Having the knowledge of God's tongue with Hebrew ways of Him, He created a place as earth to have the man created from earth, you may say from dust, but truly was from wet earth as mud. He made the man, you may call Adam, I say man as he is the man. And He created he from earth, mud, earth with water, wet earth, and it come to be flesh. And He already spoke in your God's tongue, Hebrew. Creation of man was in the same way as all others on earth, from the earth, wet earth, mud, becoming flesh. But this time, with your God's design to speak His tongue on earth, Hebrew, to be His people on earth. Can you think why? He wants someone just like you, the same way He created you, but He wants a people who speaks His tongue to understand Him, to worship Him, and to carry on your own God ways in His own creation, earth. I hope you can understand God's way. It's not man's way as they wrote, because they are not of God. They wrote their own ways, as their father said to them to do. This man creation was very quiet. God decided to give him a companion. Your God sent him to earth to be among the others, to find his companion, his own woman, to be with him. The man was still alone. He did not find anyone. He walked among all others, all groups of people, your creation, but he could not find anyone to be his companion, his woman. Your God decided to give him a woman created from the man's own flesh to be as he from the man himself, to be his companion. The man got his companion woman, both speaking God's tongue, Hebrew. Your God had plans for the man to make him a priest for himself, instructing the man about all things of the kingdom to worship him his way on earth. Your God had prepared a place for the man to be, to generate his offspring, to carry on with God's plan. This man creation was quiet. He was carrying responsibility to serve God, speaking God's tongue, to be on earth, to carry on God's plan, will. The woman was curious. She walked. She was exploring this little place, this little kind like earth where she was with the man. The beast infiltrated itself by the wisdom tree. It was hidden there from the eyes of everyone and from God. The beast itself have no wisdom of anything, not of the kingdom. It is a creature apart from your God's world, not allowed one to anything but to vague alone. It's a creature. It's a snake. A creature. The creature is the devil. It seduced the woman who came close to the tree because the beast called her to get closer. And it seduced her with ideas of riches and fortune, of kingdoms, imaginary kingdoms, and wonders she could enjoy and have to herself through the creature, instead of being there in that place. The woman was fascinated with all the beast told her. Would you not? Is not what mankind is doing? She went back to the man and told him about all the creatures just told her. They could have, instead of being there to serve God, to be of God. The creature venom was spreading inside of the man. Your God was furious. He expelled both man and his companion out to the earth to be among the other creation, receiving not any instruction, any wisdom of your God, receiving not any wisdom from your God, but keeping his language, Hebrew, in a form of for men speaking, Paleo-Aramaic, and keeping God's Hebrew for future generations of your God's priests, the coming Israel people. Always under control of your God. He's the creator. He's managing everything in his way, in God's way, what they are trying to change, to modify, to twist, to create their own world as if of God, and is not. It's man way. Generations from the man are the Semites, speaking Paleo-Aramaic, a version of God's tongue, Hebrew, for they to speak among them. Aramaic is a language from God, from Hebrew, for man creation to speak. Hebrew was reserved for later on for his priests to use for God's holy matters, scriptures, and when worshiping him. Hebrew is God. This is very important for all of you, creation of God. The Semites from the man were not different from any creation of man, but they had to be on earth for your God, a people who speak and understand your God Hebrew tongue, carrying knowledge of God's way for his worshipping on earth. This is your God. He wants people that knows his tongue to understand him and his instructions to worship him, to serve God and guide all creation to know your God. What they did not do it. They kept their world apart from everyone else because it's false. They are not of God, not truly. They can follow whatever, whoever, do the things that was written for the Jews, the true Jews, but they cannot be Jew. They can be Jewish, but not Jew. And that is the problem. That is the point God wants to change in man. Revealing his truth to get everything back on track. Again, all is in your God's plan will. Offspring from the man generated the Semites in the ancient world. And again, the Semites were not different from any creation of man, but they had to be on earth for your God, a people who speak and understand your God, Hebrew tongue, and his way, carrying knowledge of God's way for his worshipping on earth. And from them, Israel people was born from a Semite woman, Sarah. Peoples could not understand the man and his purpose on earth, the creation per se. Why these people from the man is different? Why they speak this language? Where they came from? They came from God. It's God's plan. He needs people. He needs ones who understand him. Would you not? You must think. Things are not as they wrote. They created that fairy tale to cover up their falsehood. You must think. Until these days, many reject the true Jews as they are Jews in Israel. A misconception that creates rivalry against them. It was terrible, not realizing that salvation is in them, from them, where Yeshua came from his own people. Salvation from the Jews to all of you, to all of God's creation, no matter who, no matter where, no matter who you are all God's creation. Israel and all other creation, all creation, including Israel, you are his flocks, the two flocks that he is uniting right now. This is the point. Your God protection to all of you, his creation, against the beast, the creature that masters this world of man with all his illusions, everything that he says to them, they believe, they follow blindly. Man who listens to all the creature tell them, not realizing the creature catch them in sin against your God. The creature, the devil, uses creation. Even the Jewish of today is used, bought by the devil to be in sin against the Spirit, against your God. Please understand that the Middle East, Asia, is God's chosen land to have Semites and his people by Jerusalem, to make it holy land, to be on earth. Keep in mind also, the Semites are of the Middle East. His people, Israel, are of the Middle East. All other people that are in the Middle East are not Semites. Not all Semites are of Israel, neither. Not all Semites are Jews. Peoples and nations of ancient world that settle in the Middle East have their own tongue, dialects, and their own mother tongue. Keep this in mind. They are not Semites. They are peoples who came to the Middle East, settled, and built their nation. Today, countries. They are not Semites. They are not of God as his people, created from Adam. Keep also this in mind, and this is very important. Arabs are from Africa. They are not of the Middle East. They are walkers from Africa desert. They are not of your God. Unfortunately, they are creation, but they are not of your God. They have their own God, and is the beast. They are trying to conquer God people, infiltrating their idiom, their tongue in the Middle East to make Middle East of their own. And this is their goal until these days. They want the whole Middle East, including Jerusalem and the Jewish of today, to be of them. Arabs do not belong in the Middle East. This is true. This is history of God creation.